In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a way of modifying a military backpack and turning it into a very nice bug out bag and survival backpack. So stick around. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a DIY, and you know, when you're trying to come up with gear and equipment for bug out bags, survival backpacks, even your bushcraft bag, your get home bag, there are so many options out there. I've shown a lot of different ones, a lot of value ones, a lot of higher end ones, and I've given you my thoughts on those. But one area that you always need to be checking and looking into is military surplus. There is so much military surplus out there that is very affordable. There are some great options, but you have to know what you're looking for and what you're looking at, and then also you may want to do some modifications to that equipment to make it suit your own needs. Now, one type of military surplus that is readily available is the U.S. Army digital camo, and of course that's not being used anymore by the military, by the U.S. Armed Forces. That's been retired. The Army switched to multicam, but you know, the old digital camo is very available at surplus stores and on eBay. But the thing about it is it's very ugly, it's ineffective, it's not a great camo pattern, it doesn't really blend with anything. No one really knows what the military was thinking when they chose this camo pattern, but they did, and now that they've switched to multicam, there's tons of this stuff on the open market, particularly eBay, and you can get it pretty cheap because no one really wants it. And there's just all kinds of stuff, backpacks and uniforms and all kinds of pouches and you know, plate carriers and chest rigs and just all kinds of stuff to really help you build a good solid bug out kit. But you also want your gear to blend and be effective in the area that you operate in. Now, here in the eastern United States, it is woodlands, and so spring and summer it is green, and in the fall and winter it is brown, and that is it. So this is not very effective. This stands out like a sore thumb. Another type of camo that is also very available and is very similar to the U.S. Army digital is the Air Force digital Tiger Stripe. Same color scheme. It's composed of pixelated grays, but it's in a tiger stripe pattern. Once again, who knows what they were thinking when they chose that. I think the Air Force just wanted to be cool like the Army, and they both failed. So those two patterns are very available on the open market, and there's some great deals to be had with military surplus. So the one thing that I wanted to kind of cover today is, if you find this stuff, what do you do with it to make it more effective? And the answer is dyeing that ugly camo into a color scheme that works for you. Now, this pouch right here is an example of Air Force digital that has been dyed. I picked up this tourniquet pouch along with some other first aid pouches on eBay last year. Very cheap compared to multicam that was also available, almost half the price. And I saw potential in this. This is something I wanted to buy and try to experiment with some dyes. So this experiment was using RIT dye, apple green, and then also using RIT dye brown or chocolate brown. Mixing those and then dyeing that ugly gray digital camo, and it turned out really well. I was really impressed. I showed this to a lot of my buddies and put this online. Other people were looking at it and they thought it was really nice. I mean, the OD green is a perfect shade of OD for this area that I operate in, and it was very easy to do. So fast forward to now, and I really hadn't thought about this experiment that I had done until I recently found a backpack that I have been looking for a while that I kind of forgotten about. The Air Force came out with a backpack called a multi-mission bag. or the multi-mission pack. And the multi-mission pack was developed for the security forces within the Air Force. I believe Eagle Industries did some of the initial prototyping. There was even a version of this bag on the civilian market by Eagle Industries in OD green. But of course, that was a while ago. That's long gone. But these Air Force packs in the ugly digital tiger stripe gray are on eBay. And I found one that looked brand spanking new. The price was dirt cheap, under $100. Actually, $65, I think is what it came out to with shipping. And I was totally blown away that this pack was still in existence. And I could get it so cheaply. But of course, it was that horrific, ugly camo. So what I want to do is kind of walk you through the process that I did for dyeing this pack. Now, you're going to need hot water. I prefer boiling water. You're going to need a container to soak your bag in that's big enough. Luckily, I have a nice deep stainless steel sink, so that I was able to use that. You're going to need some kind of stirring apparatus. You're also going to need weights to hold the bag down into the water because it will tend to float. And then you're going to need your dye. Like I said, apple green and brown are my two colors that make a good OD for me. You're also going to need vinegar, distilled vinegar, and you're going to need salt. And then what you're going to do is you're going to boil your water. You're going to pour that into your container. You're going to throw in a handful of salt. You're going to throw in about a cup of the vinegar. You're going to mix that up and then add your dye. Now, for a pack of the size that I'm going to show you, you're going to want a lot of dye. So you're probably going to go with 2 containers of the apple green. And then you're going to use probably a half to 1 container of the brown. You don't want to go too heavy on the brown because brown contains red dyes in it. So if you put too much brown in, your pack will end up looking pink. So you really need to be careful. So I go for a 2-to-1 ratio. Once you put your pack into the dye mixture and you've weighted it down, you're going to want that to set. And I really prefer a long set time. I like a good 3 to 4 hours in that mixture. You could even go overnight. You're not going to hurt the pack. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get that dye to soak in into the material in all of the nooks and crannies. Another important step before all this is actually taking your bag and your other items that you're going to be dyeing and washing them in your machine with a mild detergent and warm water. This loosens up the fibers. It allows the dye to soak in better. It also gets rid of grease, grime, any kind of sprays that have been added to the outside of the bag, any kind of coatings. It just prepares the material, cleans it, and gives it a good base for that dye to soak into. Once you've done your soaking and you're satisfied with your time, you pull your bag out and you give it a cold water rinse. That's very important. Get all that excess dye off of the bag. And then you're going to want to let it to dry a little bit, air drying. So if you can hang it up somewhere, that would be great. Once you have it to a point where most of the moisture is off of it, it's not running all over the place. And then when you're going to throw it in your dryer, and you're going to want to throw it in with some rags or towels, old towels, that are going to help kind of cushion the inside of the dryer, because you're going to have a lot of buckles that are going to be pounding on the inside of your dryer, and you don't want to dent it or scratch it. So I always throw some old rags in there with the backpack as I'm drying it. And then once that's done, you pull it out, take a look at it. If you're satisfied with the color, you're good to go. If you need to reapply color, maybe some more brown or more green, you can do that. But once you do all that, you are done, and then you have a brand new bag that hopefully matches your environment. So there it is, wet. Okay, so the bag is all done. I am super satisfied with the color, and I'm going to show it to you now. This is the Air Force multi-mission pack. Now a beautiful OD green color. This thing looks phenomenal. It is so much better than it was before. You can see the before and after pictures, night and day. Really unbelievable how this thing turned out. It almost reminds me of, and I know someone's going to burn me on this, but it reminds me of kind of almost a modern Russian camo pattern. Not that I'm trying to emulate that, but it just reminds me of that color scheme and the digital, that they do use digital in some of their camos. So what's awesome about this bag is that it's over 40 liters, so it's a good size. You can hold a lot of gear in here very comfortably. It's a super nice backpack, and it's super cheap. And you know, since it's military surplus, it is built to be heavy duty and to take abuse. Just some quick features on this. I'm going to do another video on this, on a lowdown on this bag, but I'm going to show you some features on this bag. So you've got slip pockets that run the full length, so you're able to put in saws, machetes, knives, shovels, things like that, long tools on the side. You have a padded back panel that actually has a frame sheet on the inside, which helps with comfort and distributing the load. You have a removable MOLLE waist belt that comes completely out, sternum strap, nice padded shoulder straps, and then of course you just have these pockets on the outside that allows you to get to your gear. There's a nice small zipper pocket up here for things like headlamps. There is this 3D expandable pocket on the front that kind of comes out that you can put larger items into. And then there's even a pocket down here on the bottom of the pack that actually goes all the way through to the bottom, and so you can put flat items down here. Bottom of the backpack has MOLLE, and actually this pack came with 2 straps, so I can strap a bedroll, a blanket, my sleeping pad, whatever, or a tent that can be strapped to the bottom here. So there's plenty of room to strap your gear to the bottom. And then the inside is just a big open area with one slip pocket and a couple side pockets for water bladders or radios. There is ports that you can access for your water bladder, and then plenty of straps to cinch the load down. But overall, a really nice backpack, very cheap on eBay, easy to find. This is the Air Force multi-mission backpack. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out the affiliate links down below, links to the Facebook group, to the Amazon store, to the Prepared Wanderer website. And as always, thank you, and we will see you next time on the Prepared Wanderer.